Okay. Welcome. Look, I'm so grateful that y'all here, but y'all know I'm holding this remote because we is working this scene with two people and we winging it. We are learning on the fly. So as we have had some technical difficulties before, we have to wait to see what's in person. So I'm unmuting the TV and I can hear me. I can hear me, y'all. I can hear me. Okay, so y'all don't have to hear me no more in the background. So I'm cutting it off. Welcome to Convo with Nikki, the podcast. The goal for 2023 is to not necessarily need the remote. That I got the small goals, right? I'm not gonna lose 30 pounds. That ain't on the goal list for the podcast is, Nicole, did you need the remote actually? Welcome to Convo with Nikki, the podcast. This is a podcast created to create a space of transparency, meeting love, which gets to healing. Sounds like a lot of stuff I'm trying to do in this podcast. And what I have to admit is as we are entering and you are joining episode 5, we are actually doing that. We are actually doing that thing. We have already, in the first 4 episodes, we have cried, laughed, talked about some really heavy topics. But the biggest part is people are getting healed in this space, right? And it's not just because like, oh, Nicole, Coach Nikki is such a vibe and she did it all. That's not the case. All I did was open the door. People come in and they sit on the couch and we talk transparently. We share stories. We share our life, right? With the hope for that somebody else is watching. They're going to get something they need. They're going to receive something. We have open live chat. I have somebody by standby who's able to ask the questions that we may or may not be able to see. But it's because of you guys who choose to tune in and watch willingly, openly, and receiving from myself or my guests. I need to call them another word because I don't really like guests, right? Because I feel like they family. You don't like let anybody sit on the couch. I don't know how many of y'all had that grandma with the plastic on the furniture. Everybody couldn't sit there, even with the plastic. Right, family came to the couch. You understand? So I gotta find another word for them in 2023. But our guests, our family that comes into the room willingly, openly, and the one rule that I offer them is I don't have any questions to offer you ahead of time. But what is off limits, right? And so because I do care, this is not I don't know none about the entertainment that's happening in the world. We do know some topics and some things that they affect our guests. Otherwise, it's just me and them, and we here. And so before we introduce our amazing family member this week, I wanted to make sure we got into some of our housekeeping rules. I don't have a lot of things I require y'all, but I do need you to go subscribe. I do need you to turn on your notifications. The goal is to run them up. Run them up. We was just talking briefly. Probably I had the mic off, but if you did, we was talking about what numbers need to be to make this thing get to where you're trying to get it. I'm telling y'all, Issa was on here and created a whole vibe, and now she everywhere. Why not me? I celebrate her and her work. My turn. Me, I'm next. I'm up next. I watch Jennifer Hudson. I think her show literally is a part of why and a part of how I want to be presented to the world. A moment of inspiration, a conversation, and some good feeling moments. And that's the goal right here. So I need you to go subscribe. I also need you to do something pretty easy. Like, I want you to comment. I don't care if you're watching this after. If you're not watching us live, my bad. But if you comment, I go back throughout the week because I critique me. And I actually allow you to create a space of, hey, I would love if this was going on, or maybe you should invest in doing this thing. Other podcasters, if you tune in, I am open to constructive criticism because I can't be great without it, right? So I don't need yes men. I mean, I do want you to say, hey, you had a good time. But if there were other things that we can do better here, please let us know. We will work really hard to make this experience the experience for you. I'm going to get into our commercial break. We're going to probably play it twice until I get a new commercial. So if you are a business owner, if you are a person who provides a service or a product, and you want to have your commercial right here on the Convo with Nikki podcast, reach out to me because the opportunity is available. Right now, we got Miss Cara Presley. I'm super excited. Y'all tune in. She actually has a special going on right now. I advise y'all. I had a meeting today. I think people assume that because we have friends in business that we don't take business help seriously. And so that is not the case. She has a requirement of me to work, baby, and I do work. So she has brainstorming sessions right now until the end of 2022. I think they're free. Y'all better go get them because next year I think they range from $250 to $350. And don't quote me on the prices because today's prices ain't yesterday's prices and it won't be tomorrow's. Just a moment, commercial break.
I'm Cara Presley, America's favorite career cheerleader, and I help individuals pivot personally and professionally towards greatness. Are you feeling stuck or even stagnant in the workplace, unappreciated in your household, or unsuccessful overall? I can help you create a life you want, a life that you actually love. For more information, visit carapresley.com.
We are back. Welcome back. Welcome back. And look who's on the couch, y'all.
Hey.
Yes, none other than Kimberly Johnson, Special K to some, Kim to others. And we'll get into that in a minute. Welcome to the couch.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you for taking the opportunity. One of the things I think I need people to get or understand is that I literally just opened a space up. And those that wanted to come chose to be here. So I don't take it lightly that you chose here. Right there, I feel like you are like global in your great things. So you could have went anywhere and been on any podcast. And so to choose us, I do not take it lightly.
Well, because you're doing something I believe in. So,
oh, yeah.
Yes,
I thank you. It makes me smile. So let's get into... So we've had a moment to talk. So I need y'all to catch that we were actually just together this past weekend. So if you follow Coach Nikki and the things that we do, we just did the You Are Seen event. And not only did Special K perform, but Kim invited a friend in to the room and we got to recognize her friend. So I'm going to shout her out only because all I can hear in my head is I care. So hey, Carol Wilson, how are you? Tell us if you could say 3 things about you, what would they be?
3 things about me. I love God. I am creative. And I strive for excellence in all things, knowing that excellence is really hard to achieve. And most don't.
Whew, that was heavy. I know. I love God too. After that, I was lost. I'm gonna tell you what I like the fact that out of all of those things, you didn't pick title, roles, but just you. And so as you see her name on the bottom, as you may have seen her name on social media, there are 2 things in spaces, right?
Right.
So there's Kimberly Johnson, born.
Right.
Right.
Right. My mother's child.
Yo, mama, baby. Right. And then there is Special K.
Right. Well, and there's really 3.
Okay, come on to the 3rd. Okay.
Okay. So, like I said, Kimberly Johnson is my mother's child. I'm in trouble if I hear Kimberly. So yeah, we all know who that is.
Right.
That's the girl. You kick it with me. You want to hang out. Well, I don't really do a whole lot of hanging out, because I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert. Surprise. So,
we're going to get to it. I need y'all to stay with us.
Okay, so there's that person. Mm-hmm. Special K is the person that you see on stage. It's a character that I put on and I take off.
I need y'all to I need y'all to understand this is probably going to be our deep dive moment because I understand and respect that space. What's the third?
I'm so glad. And the third is Kimberly J, and that's the writer. So I have published a book, and my author name is Kimberly J.
Okay.
So that's the third person. But yeah, they're all me.
Right. That's the other part. Okay, so I think I ran into this, and I have ran into this in the process of being Coach Nikki, right? Which is what I do.
Right.
Right. That's how I serve in most spaces. Then there's Nicole Fields, my mom and daddy kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And very, very rarely. Well, when I hear LaFawn, I know I'm in trouble. That's my middle name. Like LaFawn, that's them. They didn't call me.
Right.
And then there was at one time Convo with Nikki, right? And so, well, there still is because now it's a podcast. But there were so many layers, and I had started not being able to decipher between the three.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when it comes to you introducing yourself, when do you choose which name you offer?
It depends on what work needs to be done.
Okay.
So if I am just in a space where I want me to be seen and heard, and I really just want to hang out, I don't feel the need to pretend, because if I have to pretend, then I'm not being true to me.
Okay.
So that's Kimberly. That's,
okay. How many people have access to her?
Not very many. It's so this is another thing. Special K, the character, she's kind of like a wall, because I'm special and I'm valuable. And it took me a really, 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 really long time to figure that out, to understand that, to know how that applies to my life.
Yeah.
And because I'm so valuable, everybody can't afford Kimberly.
I know that.
So,
baby, you don't have enough money, or enough effort, or time, or energy. Like
exactly,
all of them together.
You can't. And I have a lot of life experiences.
Yeah.
And my life experiences, they are hard, and everybody can't carry the mantle of knowing me, because knowing me means that sometimes I need you to hold my arms up. Like, and if I can't trust you to do that,
then you can't know that part.
Then you can't know that part of me, because there's a lot. Like I was telling you on Sunday, there's a lot of mental unwealth that happens in my home.
Yeah.
And if you know Kimberly, you know Kim, I gotta be able to trust you, be able to call you and be like, hey, you gotta come over.
Right.
And know that everything that's going on inside my home isn't going to be all over the
social
book.
media. Right.
Right.
And hey, I went ahead to.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to be standing there clicking pictures and everything. Like, you are really there to help.
Doing the work. Yeah.
So hardly anybody has access to Kimberly. Yeah.
How about Special K?
Everybody can know Special K. But it's really funny. Most of the people
that know Kimberly,
they don't like Special
They don't.
K.
I literally heard that though. I heard, and I think you are y'all best friends.
Yeah, my best friend.
She was
Kara,
like,
she.
I don't even like. Who is that?
Right. She's like, she doesn't know her. She because she's a mom. She's a single mom. She doesn't get to come out as much.
Right. Okay.
So she doesn't see the performer me. She hears it sometimes on the phone when I'll be like, hey, I need you to listen to this, like, tell me how it is. But she's only seen Special K like 2 or 3 times, and
the way I have seen you, I think maybe 4 times total.
It's an experience.
I mean and I like the fact that you say it's a character.
Absolutely.
Right. Her voice becomes something that shuts you quiet. Literally in the room, I think people were ready for spoken word on Sunday. I know that at least half of them, because I knew some of them, have been to a spoken word moment, a poet slam. I've seen them in spaces. But when you open your mouth, it was like this person like jumped out and like roared at us. I was like, wait. So how did you create this character? Like, I know what they do, but where did they come from?
So first, Special K, the character, is everything that before I knew that I was valuable, before I knew that I was important, it was everything that I wanted to be, because I just wanted to be liked and I wanted to be loved and I wanted to be appreciated and noticed. And so and that came even before there was ever a Special K. Like, those things I would put on this thing when I was around people, because I didn't want them to see how just unsure of me that I was.
Yeah.
And then, which, side note, if you come to the show, you'll know more about that. We're going to
talk
talk about the show later.
Yes.
Okay, but so Special K, I went to my first open mic in 2014, and it was my second one. The first one I went, it was just Kimberly, and nobody, I didn't know any better or whatever. The second one, I went to go sign up on the list, and I'm looking at this list, and there are names on there like Teddy Bear and Tank and all these names. Whole sheet full of paper, and not one of those names was a government given issued name. And I just stood there, and my friend who had invited me was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, I don't know what to write. Like,
Kimberly probably not gonna fit right on
like
here.
I don't know what I'm supposed to write. And one of my other good friends was with me, and she's like, "Girl, if you don't stop being so special and just put your name down." And I was like, "Well, special." and then I was,
that's it,
right? I was like, special. And now I'm telling you, there was a line forming behind me
because they waiting, because you
because I literally didn't know what to put.
Right.
And I was like, "All right, Special Kimberly." No, that just doesn't sound right.
Definitely, we would not.
Right. And I was like, Special Kim. And I was like, oh, that sounds even worse. I was like, you know what? Special K. Like, here we go. And then the character just kind of started to develop.
Okay.
So that night, there was a comedian, and I discovered that I enjoy heckling. But not heckling in like a I want to hurt your feelings kind of way. Just, I like kind of being the center of attention. And,
okay.
And if heckling is going to help me get there, then I'm going to do it. So there was a comedian, and he went up after I went up, and he was talking about the poem that I did. And I'll never forget, the poem I did was "Hey There, Mr. Bassman." And like, he was talking, and he was like, "Yeah," and I was just like, "You're not going to talk about me," and me not talk back.
Right.
So, completely out of character.
So you yelling from the audience
yes,
at this point.
Yes.
Because I can feel that. It was like, I don't know who you think you're talking about.
Exactly. Like, you're not going to get the last word. I don't care if you're on stage. So that's how she started developing. And then, so that was a lot of years ago, 8 years ago.
Before you go to next, how did you feel when Special K became attention getter and Kimberly was still in a space of unsurety of who she was?
Honestly, I didn't feel any different.
Okay.
Because all I had done was give a name to the mask that I was already putting on.
Okay.
So that's all I did. And then I developed, I was like, once I realized that this was what I wanted to do, not what I just, this is fun. But no, I am a professional.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to do, and this is going to pay me one day.
And it is, and it will.
And it is, and
yes.
it will. Like,
yes.
All the things. I started to realize that it couldn't just be this, because on social media, people were interacting with Special K. So I had to create a personality, and I just basically everything that's the opposite of Kim. Like, there you go.
Is it heavy putting it on in spaces where you also are, when Kim is dealing with life and Special K has to show up? What does that process look like for you? I know now I feel like you probably figured out a way to get it together, but we're talking about 2016, 17. What did that look like?
I think it's always, when there are things going on, it's always hard. I don't really want to do this. Yeah. I don't want to go out and be like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And I'm trying like not to cry, or I'm trying not to fall. And I just have people who are close to me who don't like Special K but push me to be Special K.
Yeah. Allows you a space to be Kim.
Yeah. They and they push me, and they know that the end goal is that this is a business, this is the profession, and so they push me to be great.
Yeah.
Even when I don't feel like it. And my pastor is famous for saying, your feelings don't mean anything, so get out of them. And so he will tell me in a heartbeat, put him down, get out of it. Like,
because we got a bigger goal.
Right, because you it doesn't matter. You feel tired, so what? Like Special K went to the UK back in April, and my personal life was the most unraveled I think that it has ever been, or I've ever allowed myself to get to like deal with and say it's unraveling. And it got to a point where I was just like, I'm not going to get on the plane. I'm not going. And everybody that knows Kim was like, hold up.
I know. We pushing you on this
plane. They were like, whatever it takes, you are getting on that plane. And so I just have those people that just, they make it easy, even though a lot of times it's hard. But now, here's the thing. Once Special K is on, she's on.
Right.
And I don't take her off until I'm in my car, ready to go back home, or in my hotel room, or whatever the case may be. When I'm away from the people, that's when Kim comes off. Special K comes off, and Kim comes back.
So, you said the UK. How did you get there? How did we get there?
The world shut down, because, there was this thing.
This thing came. Took over the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something 19.
About it. Something like that.
It 19, came, 90. And the world shut down. Well, I've already established that I like to be the center of attention. But so I like to perform. I don't like to just write poetry and nobody hear it.
Right.
And I also, the poetry that I write, I feel like it's healing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it needs to be heard. So when the world shut down, I went onto the intraweb, and lo and behold, there were open mics happening everywhere, not just in Virginia, but everywhere. And because Kim is a homeschooling mama, which means I'm home 24/7 with my kids, and other people's children too.
But y'all take field trips, because I saw that today.
We do take field trips.
Yes, y'all take field trips.
But yeah, home. So I found that it was easier for me to do open mics in the UK, in Australia, in New Zealand, because those happened at 5 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I could do that because my children were sleeping,
right,
and not saying ma, and I just developed community and family, where I feel like they even get to know a little bit of Kim.
Wow.
A little bit, just because that's the community that has been developed. And so a friend of mine that lives in Ireland, she did a one-woman show. And as soon as I heard that she was doing a one-woman show, I was like, I'm going. I don't care what it takes. I don't care what I have to do. I'm going because I want to support her, because I believe in her so much. And I kept it a secret. I told the people who were producing it that I was coming. So it was like 2 people. I was like, don't tell anybody I'm coming, because I didn't want to take anything away from her. I didn't want anybody to be like, what? Special K from the UK is coming? I didn't want any of that. I wanted
the fact that Special K from the UK is a thing is crazy.
I mean, USA. Sorry, not UK.
Oh, but I mean, well, I don't know.
But so then somebody else found out, another person who puts on shows, they found out that I was coming. And they're like, so what shows are you going to do? And I was like, nothing. I'm coming to support her. And that's it. Like, I really was on some rich girl stuff, because I flew in on a Thursday and flew out on a Sunday.
Come on. Yes.
I was like, that's what I'm doing. And they're like, oh, no. So I ended up performing, doing a feature the day after her one-woman show. They threw this together. And they were like, we can't tell you who our guest is, who's doing this feature, because I didn't want anybody to know. And then I also ended up performing for intermission at the Bob Marley show.
What?
And what is called, I don't know if it's not called Broadway over there. I don't know.
But the equivalent.
Yeah.
The catch is, sometimes it don't matter what it was called. The equivalent to Broadway in the UK, you were there.
Right. So I did like a little intermission.
We're not going to did intermission. We're going to own the things that we have done and accomplished. Because I'm just trying to get somebody in UK to subscribe on over here right now. You have been present, stood flat-footed in it.
Yeah, and going
and
back
delivered.
in April. Going back.
They welcome you back.
Yeah, I'm going back.
That meant you knew what you was doing.
Yeah, I'm taking the show.
The
show.
other part, hold on, before we get to the show,
Uh-huh.
because we're going to do a commercial break and then we're going to come back to the show. Before we get to the show, but one of the things that I hear you say is they threw this show together, which means that people in the UK trust whoever these producers were to say, we ain't going to tell you who coming, but come on out anyway.
Absolutely. They came.
And they came.
They came. And it's be there and here is just night and day, because maybe it's because I'm here, this is home, or this is home base, and you know, people say they don't, home doesn't support you, doesn't show up for you. I'm not going to say that that's 100% true, but I can see where
people can get that.
Where that comes from. And there they just showed up. Like the thing was we were supposed to be in this large theater-esque space that could accommodate all the people and us still be comfortable, and it was overbooked. It was double booked, rather. And they were like, well, we have this. And this ended up being a space about this big, what we're in right now. And people were standing outside, like in the hall entrance, just to be there for me and this show. And so it was amazing.
Was that feeling like, if you could bottle it up and name it a thing? And I'm doing this because she's a wordstress. So if you could bottle that emotion up and give it a word.
I have no idea. I've never experienced anything like that. And honestly, I was jet lagged. Like, I was sitting there and somebody took a picture of me, and it looks like I'm really in tune and listening to what's going on, but really,
and you don't have a clue what it was.
I was trying not to go.
They
to
look
sleep.
like Charlie Brown teacher. They was like, what? Yeah, and you just come together, all right? And it was like,
I was over here. I was nodding, but I was just so tired, and I was just trying to enjoy the moment, but I had met in this, so I flew in on Thursday, flew into London on Thursday, and then Friday afternoon is when I was in Birmingham, Brum, they call it Brum. And so I was there.
Not Alabama, y'all.
Yeah, no, not Alabama.
No, what y'all think about.
And so many people had come in. Not for me, because obviously they didn't know I was there, but for Kathy Carson from Ireland to do her show. And so it was like, my community had legs, and we were all there. And it was just so much. I don't think in the moment I could describe it. I still can't describe it. But it's like the highlight of my year. That feeling.
And the crazy part is there has been space for you to have a highlight again.
Yes.
This year coming, 2023. Y'all, we're going to take a small commercial break. We'll be right back with Special K. Kim. You pick who you want to see.
I'm Cara Presley, America's favorite career cheerleader, and I help individuals pivot personally and professionally towards greatness. Are you feeling stuck or even stagnant in the workplace, unappreciated in your household, or unsuccessful overall? I can help you create a life you want, a life that you actually love. For more information, visit carapresley.com.
Welcome back. We are back in the room with my girl. Kimberly Johnson is my friend. I think because she was willing to show up for me, that is who I choose.
Absolutely.
I choose her. We are looking into 2023. Next steps, new space. What's next? What are we doing?
Okay. First, I have my one-woman show, my debut one-woman
I am
show.
like, what made you decide to do a one-woman show?
The right person asked me. That's
what it took.
That's what it took. So my former therapist, who's also now my friend, she is the owner of the If You Could See Me project, and she deals in mental health, mental wellness, and So I went to the UK, saw Kathy, came back, saw another acquaintance, Donna Joyce, do a one-woman show. And I was like, oh, yeah. And she just happened to ask me, would you ever consider doing a show? And I thought we were just talking, like, thought we were just having a conversation, like, what if? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'd do a show, like, whatever. She's like, great. So have you written it, or do you need time to write it? And I was like, what? My brain was nowhere near that part. Yeah, I thought that we were talking, like, what ifs and way down the road. And she was like, no, I'm being serious. Like, have you written a show, or do you need time to write it? And I was like, well, I have not written a show. Mm-mm. I don't even know what the process of writing a one-woman show is. And she was like, oh, okay. So we'll talk in 14 days and,
14 days.
14 days. That's what she said. We'll talk in 14 days. And between the time that she asked me and the time that we talked in 14 days, God had just downloaded, this is the show. I couldn't stop writing. Like, even when I was like, my hand is cramped. I don't type. It helps me to remember things.
When you write?
Yeah, when I write. So I couldn't write. I would be like, God, my hand hurts. I got to feed the kids. And I would just be like, I have to write. So by the time we talked, again, in 14 days, the rough draft of the show was done. And she was like, see, you're ready. And I was like, I don't think that I am. It takes a lot to go from writing to performing solo by yourself for an hour and a half to 2 hours on stage. And she's like, you'll get it. It'll be fine.
What can people expect in this show?
Ooh, first, bring your tissues.
Yeah, she's already said that like 3 times. I feel like tissue should come with. I feel like a little small pack of tissue should come with your ticket. The way she done told us already that tissues.
I tell everybody, bring tissues, because I am not responsible for snot stained or ruined clothing. Not that I am trying to make you cry, but I'm trying to make you cry. Because if you don't cry, then I didn't do this show justice.
The title of the show is
More Than Just a Mom. So.
If y'all follow my journey, the way I probably just want to fall on the floor in this very moment. Because the title alone speaks volumes to even just your story that you've shared. If you follow her, then I'm not sharing anything you don't know.
Right, absolutely.
Right? If you don't follow her, go follow her so that you can understand this space.
Right.
As we talked about Special K, we've talked about Kimberly J.
Yes.
And we've talked about, we didn't really talk about her yet. We'll get back to her. But we've also talked about Kimberly Johnson.
Right. And the show is Kimberly Johnson. Though I don't say Kimberly Johnson in the show, I say Kimberly J. Mm-hmm. Just because it fit better.
Yeah.
But it's
but again,
it's me. It's Kimberly Johnson. It's my life. Mm-hmm. And I really was like, what better way to introduce myself to one woman shows, because I know this is not going to be the one or the all. There are going to be more.
Yes.
But I was like, the best way to introduce myself and to connect with an audience is to start with who I am and how did we get right here.
Right here.
And that's what the show is.
Yeah, I appreciate the 3 titles, the 3 names, the 3 things that come with expectations and responsibilities. But the title Mom also comes with stuff. It also come with people. The one title that you got that came with people as the title grew. Like, as you got the title, it was another person and responsibility.
Right. And not only that, but like, just think about all the expectations that you put on yourself as a mom, and then the expectations that society as a whole puts on you. And then your family, and then your children.
Come on.
All these expectations, and we have a tendency to get lost in that title, Mom.
Like, it's almost like once you have that title, there are no other titles.
Right, nothing else
exists.
Right,
nothing else. As a matter of fact, which I do not agree with, and I'm big about it, learning to be big about it, is that it also supersedes Kimberly Johnson and Nicole Fields to somebody in somebody's world, and we've allowed it.
Absolutely.
We had allowed it, because I definitely don't feel that way literally in this right now moment. That is no longer the case for me.
Right. Well, and for me, it's the opposite. Because I wanted it.
Yeah.
All I wanted was that. And everything that mom comes with. That's all I wanted. So I was, 33 years ago, I realized that I can be this and.
Yeah.
So even when I was performing as Special K in 2014, I still hadn't really fully been like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I was still like, I'm a mom. So timidly stepping out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's somehow a reality of, or a thought process that I can't.
Exactly.
Right? And I can't be, and as a matter of fact, I am not a successful mom if I didn't.
Exactly. And then, but what gets me too is so I have kids that are out of the house and grown, praise the Lord, thank you, Jesus. And also I have kids that are in the house, pray for me, because
pray for me too, Lord.
But nobody ever said, hey, do you know what happens when your kids leave?
Tell you, people did not. I'm gonna tell you right now. People said dress these kids up. They're gonna be nice and make sure they get to the school. And then that's all. That's all I ever heard.
They didn't give me those kids.
I don't think nobody got those kids.
I didn't get those.
The Huxtables are the only people that got those kids.
Right, and the Winslows.
Right, the only people that got those kids.
But I didn't get them. And then when the older two flew the coop or got pushed out of the nest, however you want to,
whichever way they want to say,
however they say,
whichever
happened,
the perspective is. Right.
I don't care. I'm not arguing with anybody. It was just time, but
the time is
nobody
up.
Exactly. You have served your sentence and you have served it well.
The warden has let you go. You can party.
But I just, even though I still had at home, I was just like, I felt kind of empty because I didn't have all of them. I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I never realized that I could be Ann.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get, even though we can, parenting is something dear to me.
Me too.
Choosing to be who I am. So I was a young mom. Mom at 19.
Same.
And so a lot of my choices were for them because I chose them. Right? Mm-hmm. And so as now I'll be 41 Wednesday.
WON?
Yes. And shall. Right? Winning is a choice for me. Mm-hmm. But the winning is for me. As much as I love them.
That part.
Right? And I realize now that it does not equate to failing as a mom.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But again, you didn't realize that overnight.
It didn't come.
I don't think
the kids are old now. The fact that one kid is 21, somebody is 17, 16, and 12. She still is somewhat like me a little bit because she don't know that I will put her out too.
Right. My 7-year-old is like that. I love you, Mom. You're so bless you, child.
Bless you, child. Why did they leave? They didn't want to be here. Bye to them too, right?
Right. But yeah.
Yeah, I am excited for you, for the freedom that, to me, even hearing the title gives you.
Yes, absolutely. And in that freedom too, I guess getting back to your original question.
No, you're fine. The way we would just be talking on here.
Right. So there's that. January 12th, you can get your tickets.
Tickets are available right now.
Yes.
If they want to get tickets, what do they do?
All the W's. If you could see me.com/upcoming events is the link that I remember. But it's also available on Eventbrite, and if you just search More Than Just a Mom. And you can get, tickets are only $10. $10. So, and there's a processing fee, so it makes it $12.24. It's a good
on
time.
Eventbrite.
Yeah, on Eventbrite.
So that's the link I want you guys to go to, only because it's easier. My goal will be to make sure that it's at the bottom of the video for this. If you see this video on Facebook, we will try to make sure the link that you can click is on there as well.
Right. If you follow me on Facebook, it's in my bio. If you follow me on Instagram, it's in my bio.
How do they follow you on Facebook if they don't?
Kimberly Johnson, Special K in parentheses, and Instagram, it's Divine Miss Kim with no vowels. So if you're not an English person like
I was going to say, they probably don't know what that is. DVNMSKM. Was there a reason you left out the vowels?
It used to be on my license plate.
Oh,
You know how you can only have
you
seven
gonna have 7 letters?
Yeah,
Okay.
so
I was like, that sounds real good. I wonder if there's a reason.
I'm divine.
As you are.
And it was on my license plate when I was like 16. And it just kind of stuck with me.
So as I've listened to you talk about all of these things and all of the amazing things, I want to go to your God relationship, and how that may impact on all of the things that you manifest now.
Oh, well, I would not be literally and physically, I would not be alive. I would not be sitting here without that relationship with God. My personal relationship. So I try really hard not to force what I believe on anybody. But here's the thing: if you're around me, you're gonna get some God, and that's just because that's what I believe. I'm not saying what you believe is like whatever. We're not getting into it. It's just what I believe.
Right.
And I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church.
Okay.
So my grandma and my granddaddy, we was in church.
Okay.
The morning service. The evening service, we was in church, and I know
the service.
Right, I know how to stand with my hand behind the back and lead people to their seat.
Yes,
and, I know how to collect the offering. I know how to do it all.
As you do, that's because y'all was the old church.
Right, we was the old church, and actually, so I'm really into genealogy and history like that. One of my great grandfathers was a founding pastor of the first black church where I live. So we've been in church a long time.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been in church. We know how to do the church thing.
Know how to do church.
Right. And so I went through some things, and I'm not going to say what they are just because they could be triggering, and also I want to save it for the show. But I went through some things.
I got to buy the ticket for that.
Oh. Yeah, pretty much. And they were hard things. And they were things that kids shouldn't have to go through, but I went through them. And I kind of was like, instead of running away from God, I ran to God.
The fact that you are like a white elephant, because most people, when they endure, run from.
Right.
Right? I ain't going to church because I got to deal with this stuff.
Right.
I ain't praying because I got to go deal with this stuff.
Well, and a lot of it, too, was because I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have a person. I didn't have anybody. So I was writing in my journal, but I was, Dear God. And that's how my journals went, were like, Dear God. So that's, I just started talking to God, and then he proved that he was listening to me in my life. And so that's the relationship. And I am a semicolon, which means that I have attempted to take my life. And, but had I not had that relationship with God, I would not have fought to come back from being a period or trying to be a period. So, it's super, super important. And also just the things that are coming to fruition. Like, I am a conversational, how did my pastor put it? Because this is something new. This is a new title.
Lord,
a new
the
thing.
way if he gave you a title, because I know her pastor.
Conversational enhancement or something like. Anyway, I help people have conversations, have the hard conversations, where I've started actually working with other people who are having maybe issues in their marriage or issues in their life, and just by conversation, because I know conversation. I talk to God.
The way I feel like you was in my meeting today with our president, because. So I've been saying this thing. I'm Nicole Fields, or Coach Nikki, certified life and business coach. And she was like, people don't hear any of that. Right? By the time you say, she said, first of all, you fly past it. Right? So there's no acknowledgement of you of it. She said, what about a transformative coach?
Right. Oh, I like that.
And that you literally transform lives through transparent conversation, which is already a part of my stuff.
Right. Absolutely.
And so I was like, yeah, now I got to learn how to say that. Like you was just trying to practice what you were saying.
Right.
Because there is a thing we have to learn. Like we're in a space and in a season where we can say what we want to be. And it doesn't have to be those. Right. It don't have to be, I'm a lawyer, doctor. Our parents came from old school. It was either this thing or you this thing. We're in seasons where say what you are.
Exactly.
And be that and be present in that.
And our gifts are making room for
us.
And
it is. And it is.
So, so I'm that. And again, without God, I wouldn't even be able to do that, because I go in these conversations, and the first thing that my pastor said to me when I was approached, because I didn't go looking for this.
Right.
Promise you I didn't, because I don't want it at all. Like,
Gift
right. I was like, I don't want this gift. Take it back. Like,
came up with this.
Right, right, exactly. But my pastor was like, make sure that you, no matter, whenever you go into these conversations, that you have prayed and you have covered yourself, because them things are going to try and come on you. And the way he said it, I was just like, I was scared.
Transferring the spirit.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so, and I do that. And now, and I see the mess that people are going through, and I'm like, and when I don't talk to God before I do it, I see those things at home. And
because they will manifest there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And do. And then, so another thing that I'm getting ready to launch after the show is a support group called You Are Not Alone. And it's for family members and or people who care for people who deal with mental unwealth. Because, and this is not, it's not counseling.
Right.
It's more
it's
like
a support group.
It's a support group, and you need to vent because you have a child or a spouse or whatever who's in mental unwealth, and you can't deal with their level of crazy today. And like, come vent. We know what it's like.
Yeah. Safe space.
Exactly. Definitely. Yeah. And without God, I would not have been able to. I wouldn't have even been able to venture in that, because let me tell you, that's a lot of vulnerability and uncovering of me, like all the stuff that I work real hard to not show all the intrawebs. Like,
right, the way I be trying to hide those things.
Right, like,
and God keep on saying, but I need you to go over here and help the people do this thing.
Right,
and the only way for me, my help is transparent.
Exactly.
Right, so I'm like, so what you said? Tell the people that my kids acting like they ain't shit today.
Right.
You want me to go and talk about how being a single mom is not fun all the time?
You
want me to talk about how dating a female is somewhere crazy, and that I love God a whole lot?
Right.
What you want me to do?
All those things, and like, but God, I don't really.
Why we gotta do that?
Right. Like, if you follow me, you might have heard a poem or two. Like, so I did a poem about my eldest. And the things that happened. She has severe mental unhealth that's not taken care of. She tried to kill me. She did all the things. And I wrote a poem about it. And I was like, but God, why did I have to
my
do...
face. I'm sorry. No, I did not hear that poem yet. So I'm sitting here like, what is the poem? And it's on my tape?
No, it's not on
Oh, Lord. Okay. Sorry. Oh, I got to say, I'm all about promoting. And go get... If you've never, ever heard her, before we get into this. If you've never, ever heard her, I advise you to go into her inbox. That you got to buy it from her. She has it on a USB. And she also has Wordspiration Awakens, the CD.
Speak it.
Get it now. Right? Invest in riding in a car and creating a safe space for you to just be present.
Yeah.
Right? Be released from some things. Relate to some of the things. But get it now. I'm sorry, that was my plug. That was my commercial.
No. If we have time, I'll do a piece from it later.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, okay, so all that happened, and
sorry.
I was like, I write poems about it. God, I'm like, yeah, why do I have to talk to people? And
Let's go listen to this poem I just did.
Right, like, whatever. And God's like, no, I need you to come out there a little bit more. And so I'd, do a post. I have a couple of reels on IG where I am like a hot mess and not together in any way, aspect, shape, or form. Like crying and just hair all over the place. And like, this is real life.
Yeah.
But I realized that in being this social media influencer and guru and just person that people see, a lot of times they see the happy and the joy that you put out there, and they don't see the stuff behind the joy and the happy, and that's causing a lot of the depression,
because people are trying to be what people have portrayed versus showing truth.
Exactly.
And it will save
people, and that's ultimately that's what God said. God was like, you have to put it out there. God was like, I'm not telling you that you have to be like, this is the mental mess that's going on in my house today, but you have to be real. When you're down, you have to be real, so that people know that there are ups and there are downs. How else are they going to trust me? Because God said, I'll draw all men, and
that's what He said.
And I don't have to do nothing. But He was like, if I'm if Kim is the vessel, then Kim has to be open.
Be open
in
in
order
those
for
spaces,
him to,
in all of the facets.
Exactly. And so I'm like, okay, another thing I don't like to tell people. Well, no, I used not to like to tell people that from my daughter and everything that happened, I now have a TBI, which means now 95% of the time I'm like this. Hi, nice and normal. Like, there's 5% of the time though where my brain is just like, we're brain tired, and brain tired is different from just being tired. Mm-hmm. It's like actual muscle fatigue, and it hurts and it's painful.
Oh, wow.
And I forget how to talk. I can't read. I don't know how to count money. Don't ask me to walk anywhere because I will fall over. Like,
wow.
And I don't want anybody to hear or see that aspect of me because I am a spoken word artist.
Right.
I speak.
So let me tell you, I'm a believer in trusting conversations. Mm-hmm. And so I had a conversation, kind of a session with AD Red. She is the owner of Trap Cardio in the city and Elite Nutrition. But she said a thing. She is very much present on social media as well. And she knows that I am, and she's very proud of me and supports me. Mm-hmm. And we had this conversation, and one of the things that she said to me was, I told her I became very quiet when I was enduring this space that I was in. And she says, nobody told you had to go and be vulnerable to the people. There are some spaces that are safe that are just for you.
Right.
Right? And she said, now, I ain't going to tell you that you're probably not going to cry again, which I did. Mm-hmm. I'm not telling you that you're not going to be able to go laugh again. She said, but you don't owe people your vulnerability.
Exactly. And I had to learn that.
And I think once you know that part, the sharing of hard places that I don't mind sharing, or I'm sharing after the endurance of it, right? It's okay still. And he can still show up in those spaces.
Absolutely. And boundaries. I've learned boundaries.
Boundaries, yes.
So, like, with my head injury, you're never, ever, well, wait. No, there is one video when I first got it, and it's on Facebook. I never take it down, but it's there. And I realized when I was in therapy that when I was singing, I could sing and I could get it all out, as opposed to when I talked and I couldn't get stuff out. So I leave that up there because whenever Facebook reminds me of it, I'm sharing it because I want people to see the goodness of God and where he brought me from.
Baby.
But what I've learned is I can have somebody, I can have one of the kids, or I can have my other or whatever post, for me and say, hey, it's a bad brain day. Or I really hate being brain tired or whatever. Like but I don't have to be vulnerable of put myself out there and you guys see me struggle to talk or struggle to walk or
because I don't have to give you. I've given it to you once. True evidence.
Right. And
enough is enough.
And again, everybody doesn't have access to Kim.
Yeah.
And that's Kim. So only if you are real in my life.
Yeah.
Are you going to see that? Because again, I may need you to hold my arms up.
That was a true statement. Yeah.
Yeah. Like my best friend, I have called her at work before. So in my phone, I have numbers that are they're right there. They're their pictures. Mm-hmm. So if I can't read.
Like an ice list.
Yeah. But it's right there. It's always right there as soon as I open my phone. And I have called her at work several times. I can't tell you how many times I've called her. And they're like, I'm lost. And I don't know where I am. And I have to sit down. And I'll start crying. And she's like, I'm coming. She will be like, share your location. I'm coming. Because she doesn't have an iPhone. Pray for her. But, so, with an iPhone, I can share my location all the time. But, share it in Facebook Messenger or whatever. And she'll leave work to come and get me there. Because we know the signs of, what's getting ready to happen. So I need people like that. And if you can't, not saying
we need people. People need people like that. So, how do you relate to a space of this cause? This isn't something that you got on your own. Right? You didn't go get the TBI. You didn't go pick it up and say, if I could pick anything, Lord, give me this.
This is what I want.
But knowing that someone you took care of, you loved to your ability, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know the story. We're not getting into today, but the cause.
Right.
What does that in healing? This is my parenting moment. What does that in a space of parenting and healing look like?
Okay, again, first and foremost, my relationship with God has a lot of bearing on what I'm about to say.
Because Grace is crazy. But go ahead.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Mm-hmm.
And also, it happened when she was still a child, so before she was an adult. So, and remember, I wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
I asked for this.
We did.
So, I was angry. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I wasn't. I was angry, but I was more concerned with the well-being of my child.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned the minute I would get angry, I just started talking to God. God, take this anger. In this moment, take this anger. Let me show up and be there for my child, however she needs me. So that's the first thing, is I learned in the moment quickly to pray away the anger, to ask God to take the anger. And I forgave instantly. I had to forgive a whole lot of times. Like right. But I forgave instantly because I needed to be her mom. And I knew that she needed mom. Now, fast forward some years, and she's an adult and still in a place of mental unwealth that I recognize but may not be recognized by her. And I've learned that I don't have to be close and up in it like I was. And it's okay for me to be like, I'm going to love you
from here.
Mm-hmm. And I want to be a part of your life, but these are the boundaries that I have set.
Come on, boundaries, yeah.
And if you can abide by these boundaries that keep me safe and protect me and help me as I heal, then we can be in each other's lives. But if you can't, then I am strong enough to say, I love you.
I choose me.
From way over here. And I choose me because I'm valuable, I'm important,
yes,
and I'm worthy.
I hope that helps some dad. I think we don't give credit to parents are parents, right? To some auntie, some grandmother who is doing the work, some uncle that is doing the work. You have not failed. You are worthy. You are valuable. You are enough. Mm-hmm. You are first to you before, like after God, like or after whatever your belief is, because I don't push him on anybody.
Right.
But as a parent who may be trying to spend their last $20 on that kid that failed all of those tests, maybe trying to spend your last $15 on that kid who had no respect for you. Buy you something and open it on Christmas Day, because you deserve that moment.
Oh my gosh, you so deserve it.
I just want. It's really heavy for me, and again, me and Kim talked before I got on live about the stuff that I'm dealing with in parenting. So I'm grateful for you sharing, because God does all things well. I needed a freedom and a space. Yeah. He has continued to be like, girl, keep doing the show, keep showing up, so that I can keep getting you the healing that you need. I think that I'm helping y'all heal in a way. He is just bringing this thing on back for me to be healed.
Right, absolutely.
If you had to offer advice to a parent and or to an artist, what would you offer them?
Well, if we're talking parenthood or to a parent, the advice I would say and offer is what's important and what's going to matter next week, what's going to matter next year. That is what you focus on. I promise you, the $500 hottest toy is not going to matter next week or next year. It's the time. So it's the time.
Your presence is a present.
Breathe in and out.
Yeah.
Take a nap. Have a snack.
Yes.
Yes. And be cautious of your time. And that's for parents. Well, that's for everybody, but as an artist, I would say love what you do what you love. If you're not loving what you're doing, don't do it. That's the most important thing to artistry. Mm-hmm. And everything else will fall into place.
What's next?
Oh, well. All right, so we have the show.
We have the show January 12th.
Right. We have the
tickets on sale right now.
Mm-hmm.
I need y'all to go get the ticket. Yes. Eventbrite.
Yes, more than just a mom.
We have
support group. You are not alone.
When does that start?
Not a specific date yet.
Okay.
I gotta get through the show.
Right. Okay.
And if you're in the UK, shout out. I'm coming in April.
She's going to the UK, y'all, and I'm just trying to get in a suitcase.
I really want to do another CD this year by my birthday. So by October, I want to have another CD, and I am working on a poetry book, and hopefully that will come to fruition this year. And then on the back burner, like I've been talking to God about it, like, is I really want to do a podcast, but I don't want to just.
And she will.
But I don't want to just be like, throw it together. I want it to be done.
Yeah.
And then, also, Strong Finish Saturdays, every Saturday. We're going to continue doing that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So do you want to close us out with a piece?
Okay, sure. I will.
Okay. So before we get into this piece, I just want to take the time to say thank you so much. You all go out and follow Kimberly Johnson on all platforms. She is worth it. To all the parents that are watching, I am just reminding you on this day that you are more than a toy that you're going to put under the tree. Your value is not equated to the value of the gift because your presence, CE, is their present, ENT. Mm-hmm. And it's always going to trump whatever you can buy at a store, even if they don't see it today. If you look back on the efforts of your parents when you were a child, or the person that you looked up to, because it may not have been your parent, but if you look back to the time that was spent with you from the adult that was important to you in your life, you may not understand their worth then, but look at what it got you to today.
Absolutely.
Until next time, we'll see you next week.
All right. So I'm going to close out. Before I do, I came bearing gifts for the audience. I do personalized spoken word pieces. And if you like get in my inbox or email me, divinemisskim@gmail.com, or in my inbox on Instagram or Facebook, and just be like, I want a personalized poem, and you say combo with Nikki, I'm gonna give you yesterday's price, which is $25.
Yeah, use the code combo with Nikki. I got a code, y'all. Y'all gonna use it. Use the code. Oh,
so,
wow, that is awesome.
That is good until January 11th.
Y'all got time. Go ahead on out there. It's worth it. Oh, Lord, the way she is amazing.
Okay, so here we go. So this is on my CD, Where Inspiration Awakens, and it is Love Story. A few weeks ago, I had this conversation. But if I'm being honest, it was more like a confrontation. See, you kept asking and demanding of me, what did I get from being on this here stage? And every answer I gave just wasn't good enough and didn't seem to satisfy your curiosity. And I began to wonder if this was a place where you determined if I was qualified to share the light with the likes of you. And I went home that night, and I knew that I had to break up with words because I didn't sign up to be your player number 2 in this unforeseen game with its ever-changing rules. But come morning's light, I realized I could stop breathing easier than I could walk away from words. See, I fell in love with words before I ever even knew what love was. Words and we have a bond that goes way back. In fact, my mama said I never stopped talking once I learned how. That's the kind of relationship words and I have. Words teaches me things like how to be angry eloquently and beautiful before they ever even see me coming. Words taught me how to wield this double-edged sword and how to hold my shield just right. Careful now, because you got to remember to protect the important parts, like your heart. Because sticks and stones may break your bones, but words, oh, they'll hurt you. Words taught me that love is a verb in action. And it was words that introduced me to paper and pen. And where words is my best friend, honey, paper and pen my lover. And we all live together in a world where threesomes do exist. And in fact, it's quite the normal thing to do. Words lets me pretend that I am a princess and I live in a castle and my Prince Charming waits somewhere just beyond the gates. But at the end of the day, when I am still lonely, Words is there waiting for me. Words waits patiently. And when Words is choked by tears before Words has a chance to speak, Words doesn't get angry. Words knows Words will breathe again. Words says things to me like, "Why are you crying, girl? Pick your head up, girl. They are no better than you, girl. You are no doormat, girl." Words. Sometimes I wonder if paper and pen get jealous of this thing that Words and I have become, because I fell in love with words before I ever even understood what love was. And late at night, when Words and I stare up at the same nighttime sky, wishing we might have whatever wish we wish on this night, I wish for Words to have fallen in love with me before Words knew what love was.
Whew. The way she just made my night. I thank you all again. Go follow her. January 12th, be in the building. It is necessary.
Or online.
Or online, yes. Good night.